Can they hear me? Can they hear me live out there? Next beat. That ain't the beat I wanted to.
Those was wood
another
beats
beat.
right
Another
there.
beat. Nope. Give me another beat. Give me another beat. Nope. That's not it. That's the beat. Turn it up.
Oh, word.
Turn it up. I gotta hear it a little louder. Can you make it louder than my headphones? Turn me up in my headphones. I'm still stuck in the 80s/90s. Lottos, kangaroo boots, nanny ghosts, Beelers, jumpsuits and troops, Junos, color Levi's, Bugs Bunny sweaters with the rhinestone ring on it. Fighting and making up the next day. Nobody getting shot. Working or hustling to get it, or get got. We had love for the streets, our family, our foes, our friends. Respect for the elderly. Pager/payphone, sneaking into Adams Theater. Watching Crush grooving tougher than leather. Hopping gates out the college park to bang out, cause you don't wanna get caught at mom's crib or at Vaughn's crib. Eating funny dinner with the fam. Church every Sunday, 8 o'clock a.m. And even if I fell asleep in the back row or played sick, no matter what, man, I still had to go 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. 80s, baby. He's a DJ.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 90 of the X-Cast. I am your host, Bobcat Goldthwait, and for Josh Houselander this week. With us, as always, is Adam Hernandez, the man, the myth, the legend. It's day 5197 in the search for Tim Shovelday. Hey, listen up, everybody. We ran a little long with the best podcast in history. It was a really good show. If you feel like tuning in, if you're into that, please do, about historical terminology and chaos theory and Hegelian dialect. Really fun episode. If you're into that sort of thing, please tune in. We were considering not doing this show because, as you can hear, my voice is pretty much hit, and the other show ran a little long, and mix all that in with it. But we did make a commitment to a guest for this show, so we're gonna do a little mini episode of XCast number 90 here. We're gonna get our guest, Mr. TriForce Johnson, on in a minute. He's been on before, and some of his detractors have been on before. We did tell him that he could come back on this show, though, so I definitely wanted to make good with that commitment.
Equal time to everybody.
Yes.
That's what we're all about.
Absolutely. And we really do try to do that. We really absolutely do try to do that. We've kind of been made the commissaires, is that the right word, to the competitive gaming world, and we're really just trying to give everybody a voice in this, and just make it happen. There's a whole bunch of drama going on in the world of Twin Galaxies and in the competitive gaming world, so we're really just trying to just be the referee in a lot of ways and just try to let people talk. We don't have a horse in this race. We're just trying to put it all out there. You make the decisions. But TriForce should be calling in any minute now, and the show's not going to be a whole lot more than that, to be honest with you. We're going to do a few minutes here with TriForce. We're going to let him speak his mind, and maybe Adam and I will do a little talking for a few minutes afterwards, but that will pretty much be the show for this evening. Kind of a little mini one. A little mini episode of the X-Cast. We're still counting it, though. This is still episode number 90 of the X-Cast. Not 89 and a half.
So we going to fill in until TriForce calls in?
Oh, yeah,
no,
he
too
should
late.
be calling in any second.
He's calling in right now.
Yeah, he's always prompt. TriForce, you are on the X-Cast.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, as you can probably tell by my voice, TriForce, I'm not quite myself this week. I'm got a little laryngitis going on, so I normally love the sound of my own voice, but tonight we're going to try to love the sound of yours. So what can we do for you? I understand this drama has gone on a little bit more. We're going to kind of assume that some people have heard what you had to say in the past and what some of your detractors have said on this very show past, so we just want to get you on and let you speak your mind and tell us what's up. So what's going on? What are the new developments here?
Well, yeah, I can't necessarily sure if I remember the last thing that, if we covered the whole culture thing and the whole tipping scandal, so to speak, or whatever.
We talked about the tipping. We talked about Contra at least a little bit.
Well, we never concluded with what happened with
No,
those, right?
hey, feel free to no, that definitely was not concluded. So feel free to just tell us
Oh,
what you
okay.
think people need to hear.
Well, Twin Galaxies, they addressed the whole tipping scandal thing when I pretty much gave you the lowdown of actually what happened versus what I actually said, and pretty much I told them that I misspoke. So Twin Galaxies had they made a comment, an official comment regarding it, saying that it was dealt with at the time and that my story is credible because it pretty much fits with what the people that was involved, the head refs and so forth, and that I did not actually tip any refs. I tried to tip them, but I either misspoke or over embellished on televised stories because my intention was to try to tip the ref, but not for the way people try to make it out. It's pretty much because I wanted to just help the refs because they weren't being paid. But we already went over that.
Sure. So are you pretty happy with the way Tipgate was concluded with Twin Galaxies?
Tipgate. There's nothing to be happy or sad about. The reality was is that I actually didn't tip a ref. I just misspoke about it. You know, and tried to, I guess, grandstand the story to make it sound like I wanted to support, because that was my intent. My intent was to support the refs. The refs are doing this work to help, push Twin Galaxies forward. It's only fair that, they be compensated for it, and Twin Galaxies was not paying them. It's unfortunate that the narrative was being changed to, TriForce was tipping refs to get scores illegally put in and all this other stuff. That's the bad thing, but Twin Galaxies pretty much silenced that by putting that out there. So, and that was never really an issue until who tried to make it an issue. But outside of that, what do you call it again? Tipping gate or Tipgate?
Tipgate.
Outside of Tipgate, the Contra thing, what got settled, they said there wasn't enough evidence to remove the score, so it was an invalid dispute. But what I find weird is that they won't close the dispute. They left the dispute open. That's crazy. So I don't understand why. They said that they're looking for more evidence, but I don't understand. If Twin Galaxies is trying to protect scores that they feel are valid, especially if there's an invalid dispute, why would it be looking for evidence?
So in essence, by their standards, you're kind of guilty until proven guilty. They just they leave it open forever until they get their point across.
That's what it appears to be, because I don't understand what else reason why it's being left open if there's insufficient evidence to make the dispute valid. So that means the dispute is invalid because there isn't enough information to make a valid dispute. But if the dispute is invalid, why is it still open? But that's how today's Twin Galaxies happened. So I don't. We last time we talked, I told you that they opened up a new dispute on the Mario Brothers on the Nintendo Play 10 choice or Nintendo. Yeah, I think it's Nintendo Play 10 choice. That's how they call it. So they opened up a thing on that, and pretty much originally they said Walter has nothing to do with the event. So then I provided testimony directly from Walter, testimony directly from the ref that actually verified my score and adjudicated it under Walter's request. Pictures, because Walter's not involved, so I can show some pictures that Walter was there involved. So standing next to me was an invisible guy in Walter's referee jersey awarding me a certificate for my, for the actual record at the event that they said he was not involved in. And it's a bunch of stupid. These things just don't make any sense. It really doesn't. But, that's just the way these guys do. So, and they're pretty much saying that that the score is invalid because I used continues on a Play Choice 10 machine, which is like a jukebox. You put in quarters to get the amount of time to play the game, but the quarters don't affect your life level or any power-ups. It's just like using a jukebox machine, which they knew, because there was another guy who actually played the game under the same Hello?
Yeah, we're with you.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh,
My
you're
screen
fine.
went black, so I wanted to make sure that we were still here. So pretty much the guy he played by the same rules, which is as long as you keep the timer up, make sure it doesn't run out, so you don't actually have to continue because you're keeping the timer up, and you follow the actual rules, which is the 5 lives, etc., the one for the NDS. So that one got put into things. So I just provided the evidence and stuff like that showed that this was an actual inaugural event. It was authorized, certified by Walter Day, verified and adjudicated by the senior rep at the time. And then now the argument is, well, they didn't know, so perhaps it was a misunderstanding, and they just need to update the rules. That's the new thing that's going on with it. But what I find crazy is that there was a Discord created where the literal creator of the Discord said, we're going to make a Discord to gather verified people.
You're referring to the app, right? The Discord app.
The Discord app, yeah.
Okay, like the communication app.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they were going to vote against my scores. It literally said that. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, you've got to be stupid to have literally wrote this. And it was written on Twitter that they made it, and people who represent Twin Galaxies in an official capacity, not like a member point of view, from like an administration point of view, were in this Discord with other verified members, all literally discussing how to topple my scores or get my scores removed from Twin Galaxies and completely banned from Twin Galaxies on top of it. Not to mention that dudes tried to steal my website and tried to steal my trademark. Like they literally sat down and discussed it. This is all on this guy's YouTube platform called Tipster, where they provided screenshots of all the people that was in there talking about these things. And it's funny because he mentioned something in the video where it says collusion leads to a lifetime ban. Now, these people who were there, who were involved in this, are still in Twin Galaxies. So I don't know if Twin Galaxies is going to follow through with their rule or what Twin Galaxies even thinks about what these guys are saying. But that guy.
So what you're basically saying is that the accusation you're making is that there's basically, in essence, a full out conspiracy directly against you, correct?
That's the thing. It's not an accusation. The guy Tipster made a video and literally exposed the room, the purpose of the room. The guy who made the room literally says, and I'm paraphrasing, well, I'm making this room to invite verified members from Twin Galaxies so we can mass vote against TriForce scores. He literally said that. Then in the Discord room, days later, he says, guys, I know this is kind of colluding and it's breaking Twin Galaxies rules, but we need to, get rid of TriForce, et cetera, et cetera. And they got a bunch of screenshots of all the different people that's in there that was literally, like, this is not a conspiracy because he literally posted all of this on YouTube. And, and these guys are in it. It's crazy. Glendo was in it. Frico was in it. Data God was in it. A bunch of guys was in it. And, it's crazy that can actually go on. And it's okay. Nothing has happened so far. Like, although the guy Tipster exposed them, I've heard nothing about if there's going to be any disciplinary actions or anything. But Tipster pulled out something that I didn't even know. It says any form of collusion will get you a lifetime ban from Twin Galaxies. Not that I'm calling for the ban. What I'm pretty much saying is that these are the rules that they have, but I don't know what's going to happen. Does Twin Galaxies think what they do was collusion? They say that Twin Galaxies is in on it. The people who made the room literally is trying to implicate head staff members of Twin Galaxies, which is crazy because I don't think Twin Galaxies would do that. But I think once that exposed video came out, they're now trying to, like, if they go down, they're trying to take everyone with them. So it's a bunch of craziness that's going on. It really is.
TriForce, I find it strange. I find it kind of ironic that the whole problem, the whole one of the main reasons that they wanted a new guard at Twin Galaxies and a new way of doing things at Twin Galaxies, so much of that was because of accusations that the old Twin Galaxies was corrupt, correct? And that they were colluding with each other and that it was an old boys club. Yet, now there seems to be just as many accusations in the new Twin Galaxies that basically the same kind of stuff is going on. So, go ahead.
The thing with this is it's just stupid because that's always going to be. You're going to have people who don't like certain things, and those people are going to speak out on it, whether right or wrong, and they're always going to create some type of issue about it and say it's them versus us. No matter, it doesn't make it. Let's say James Hall sells the organization 5 years, 10 years down the line. The new organization will have the same problem. It's like the U.S. Administration presidency. You think because a new president comes, Obama goes, change what? Let's give me a break. There's no change. It's the same thing. So, people are going to have disagreements or whatever. And, there's this concept about that it's corrupt. It's just ridiculous. There is no corruption or whatever. Let's say even some of the stuff that they're saying about the new administration or the old administration is true. That is not corruption. That's just bad policy. And it needs to just be reformed and fixed. And if someone who's in charge is just not doing things straight, then you get rid of them. I think people are taking the concept of corruption way out of context. Like, corruption is when you have a bunch of, illegal guys doing illegal things, breaking laws and stuff like that, hurting people, physically, and financially. That's corruption. A bunch of guys arguing about whether they think a rule is right or wrong, or I think you're a cheater, although I can't prove it. That's not corruption. That's bickering. Sure. And that's the whole situation. It's like the Todd Rogers and the Billy Mitchell thing. They say they can't prove conclusively that Billy played on Maine, but they can prove he didn't play on an official Donkey Kong, board. Okay, so the real question here is, did Billy Mitchell at least perform the feat of playing the game and getting the score? That's the real question here. And if, like Steve Weeby, if he can do that, you invalidate the score because it wasn't played on the proper platform and you have him do it again. Wiping out the man's entire legacy is just overkill. And it's not warranted, to be very honest with you. Same situation for Todd Rogers. But, people do these things, and even though they do that, even though Twin Galaxy did that to Todd and Billy, I don't think it's corruption, but I don't agree with their policy either. But you just have a lot of people out there in the Twin Galaxies universe that, well, actually, it's not a lot. Let me take that back. You have a certain set of people. It's the same set of people in the old guard and in the new guard. It's like 15 of them, same guys, over and over again. And they just want things to run their way. That's the reality.
Do you get the feeling, because I do you get the feeling that some people enjoy the drama that is caused by this so much more than they enjoy actually playing video games?
Of course,
or actually want to have a database that's worth something?
I agree with that statement that you're making. They don't care about that scores. There's another, this guy Tipster, another thing. He put out a video because this guy called George DK3 Champ made a video where he was discussing why is it that Billy Mitchell and Todd Rogers are getting invitations to these classic video game conventions or things like that or whatever it may be, right? And Tipster had stated that, they was like, these guys are quote unquote proven cheaters. So why is it that people are still asking for them to come out? And what they don't understand is that they say Twin Galaxies made Billy and made Todd. And no offense against Walter, but that's not true. It's the opposite. Todd Rogers didn't get involved in the Twin Galaxies until like 2000.
Right.
Todd Rogers was already working for software publishing companies in the early 80s, long before Twin Galaxies.
And Activision.
And Activision and all those guys. So, he was already made on his own. And Billy doing the perfect Pac-Man score and all of that stuff was for the benefit of Twin Galaxies, not the vice versa. When he set the perfect Pac-Man score, that wasn't an event commissioned by Twin Galaxies or something like that or whatever. That's what Billy did on the side, and he incorporated it with Twin Galaxies.
Sure.
So if anything, Twin Galaxies benefited from him. And Billy goes out and he makes himself available. Right now, Billy's getting more attention now with the verdict against him in Twin Galaxies than he ever had before. Think about this. That's crazy. So the reality here is that the people don't care about the score. They just want the attention and the glory that they think they were robbed of. And the reality, they weren't robbed of anything. No one cares about them. Their classic gaming scene does not see them as a brand worth discussing. That's why they're not discussed. Because if their complaint was true, now that quote-unquote Billy and Todd Rogers have seen justice and they've been dethroned, then how come we're not hearing anything else about these other guys? Why aren't these other champions who've been blocked from Billy and Todd, where are they? And the reality is, the scene doesn't care. It never cared. That's the truth. When you look at Billy and Todd, or specifically when you look at Billy, the classic gaming scene never cared about Billy. Mainstream media cared about Billy. And that's the truth.
You make some good points. TriForce, you make some good points. You got about a minute or two if you got anything else to say. But I hope you feel that you got to get your message out there. So anything else you want to add in conclusion?
I just want to give you guys an update of what's going on in Twin Galaxies, and I really hope that the administration has a lot to work on in terms of fixing stuff. John Klinkle said that the system needs to be reformed. I've been saying it. He's been saying, and a lot of people are starting to come to the understanding that it does need to be reformed because it is creating an environment for mob precedents. So we're going to have a lot of growing pains with the new Twin Galaxies administration, and hopefully they get that fixed and they address these players and let them know that, listen, they're going to have to earn their way. They can't be sitting there belly aching and complaining about Billy and Todd, because according to Twin Galaxies did what they had to do to get rid of them, right?
Sure.
So what's the complaint? They need to step it up.
TriForce, real quick. Is the system broken?
I can't answer that directly. Yes and no. The system is incomplete. It was incomplete then, and it is incomplete now. Which system? What's this guy's name? Michael Soroka had a show where he was talking about is the system back then better than the system today?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes and no. There's some things in the old system that was better than the things in the new system today. But there's some things in the new system today that's better than the old. So it's really it's a subjective point of view. To be honest with you, I think a hybrid of both would work. Guinness World Records does that. Guinness World Records today uses a mixture of referee and a comprehensive database mechanism system where they collect information live to do it. They have shows about it. I think when Twin Galaxies gets to that level, that's the best we're going to get. And even that's not perfect, but nothing is. But it's the standard. So Twin Galaxies needs to get to that level.
Well, hey, TriForce, always interesting, always good to hear from you. We appreciate you calling in. Hope you feel that you got your point across, and I have a feeling this isn't over yet. Like Adam had mentioned, we always try to get everybody on and get sides on. But hey, TriForce, we really appreciate the call, and wish you well.
Thanks for having me on, man. Thanks for giving me a platform to shoot my opinion out there.
Hey,
I appreciate it.
we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
Anytime, Triforce.
No problem. And later, guys.
Yeah, later.
Oh,
Okay, that was TriForce Johnson.
there you go.
Once again. You know, I mean, I think he makes good points on a lot of things. I know a lot of it's just his opinion on some of it, but his opinion is based in, it's an educated opinion. So, that's it. How do you feel about this whole situation, Adam? I mean, I know you're.
You know how I feel about it. I think that. It seems like he's got a point when it says. I mean, I would agree that a lot of people seem to latch onto the drama.
Yeah.
More so than the video games. I mean, video game records seem secondary to all of this now, and more it's trying to it's a dick measuring contest. That's what it's turned into, and it's unfortunate. Video games, like we've said many times before, are supposed to be fun.
Doesn't that seem so lost in the subculture?
It seems like one of the biggest unknown subcultures in gaming, because I mean this is still Twin Galaxies and everything, and what TriForce does and what Billy Mitchell did and Todd Rogers, and the list goes on. It was really it's an underground type of thing. I mean, it's not out there in the in the mainstream. It's not. I mean, you're not seeing this on TBS or anything like that. With the esports and
no, you certainly aren't.
No, you aren't. But this is a large subculture. There's plenty of different variables. There's plenty of different factors that go into it. And at one time, it was about having fun and trying to achieve these scores, and it's unfortunately it's not about that anymore. It's about all these different controversies, whether it's Billy Mitchell, whether it's TriForce, whether it's this, whether it's that. And again, I'm not saying Billy Mitchell or TriForce or any of them are right or wrong. It just seems like too much of the focus is on that when it should be directed towards other things. And again, I see what people are going to say, that this is all about trying to make the system perfect.
Yeah, make a better database.
Make a better database. Well, if that's the case, then make a better database and stop worrying about everything else. Stop trying to figure out who's a liar and figure out who's a cheater. Okay, if you're concerned about that, then make it so people can't cheat anymore.
Right.
Make it so, if somebody is lying, that their score isn't going to be able to get into the database.
That's why a system exists with rules.
Yeah, and
you never say that, we can't have this guy in the NBA because he cheats. Well, no, you can't cheat. You play the game, and if you're cheating, well then...
Well, people go on all the time. They say, "Oh, well, LeBron's
you get fouled calls."
Yeah, well, LeBron's a cheater, because he, they don't call him for traveling, or they don't call, or he gets a whole bunch of foul calls going his way against the other team because he's LeBron. Well, yeah, you know what? We talked about this. We talked about this last night actually on Blitzcast, and one of the big things in the NFL this past weekend was the hit that Clay Matthews delivered on Alex Smith of Washington, and it looked like it was a legitimate hit, and it should have been a legitimate hit. Fundamentally speaking, the hit that Clay Matthews put on Alex Smith Sunday afternoon was a fundamental hit in football, but not the NFL. You know why it wasn't a fundamental legal hit in the NFL? Because the NFL runs a business. What are the biggest assets to football? The quarterback. Yeah. They're protecting the quarterback. And you know what? It sucks. It sucks that that's a penalty, but you know what? If you didn't have these star quarterbacks playing, take for instance, the 49ers have a ton of primetime games coming up. You know who's not going to be playing those primetime games? Jimmy Garoppolo, their high-paid starting quarterback, because he is out because of an ACL tear. He's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just how it is.
Sure.
I mean there's different sets of circumstances that go on. Some of them were
the brand.
Yeah, some of them were involved in the past, some of them were involved in the present, and there's going to be more involved in the future. Now, if you want to go ahead and say, and we've said this many times before, and again, I'm not saying one person is wrong, one person is right, but when you have all of these past systems in place and guys are just playing by those particular sets of rules, then you can't go and change things now. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can, and if that's what you want to do, then go ahead and do it. It just doesn't seem very legitimate to me if that's what you want to do. If you want to change the past because you didn't think it was fair, then okay, you know what? Fine. But it like I said, it just doesn't seem legitimate because you have to evolve with the time. No system is ever perfect, and it's never going to be perfect. Twin Galaxies, the database, whatever it is you're trying to do, it's never ever going to be perfect. There's always going to be something there that throws it off. There's always going to be some type of loophole that somebody finds. The only thing that you can do is do your best to try to plug it going forward.
And hey, when the inmates run the asylum,
and that's not the answer,
then then there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, when we don't like a rule in the NFL, what power do we have? I don't know. We can stop watching.
You can stop watching.
That's about it.
You can stop watching. But you know what the NFL does to combat that? They've done revenue sharing.
Sure.
So that's why teams like the Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars are able to have professional NFL teams because they have revenue sharing. Do you think the city of Green Bay or Jacksonville is large enough to support an NFL team without revenue sharing? Hell no, they're not. No, they're not. And Green Bay is one of the most historic franchises, not just in the NFL, but all of sports. There's no way Green Bay would be able to have a franchise if revenue sharing wasn't a thing. And that's the way that's what the NFL has developed. That's the system they've developed, and it works.
Yeah.
For them to continue to have teams like Jacksonville and Green Bay in the league, and that's what's going to have to happen with Twin Galaxies. I mean, they're going to have to develop a system so it works for a majority of people. Because right now it doesn't seem like it's working for anybody. People may say it works for them, but they're always going to find something else. They're always going to find some chat room. They're going to find some video on YouTube, somebody trying to prove somebody else wrong, and
to say it's working, well, the plethora of drama proves otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, that's bottom line. Sorry, but it does.
No, it absolutely proves it. And
so,
yeah.
It just, kind of, it's like, sorry, but you can't say it's working when it clearly isn't.
No, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Hey, listen, Adam, I've said this before. I've been saying it for about a year now. I don't want this to be true, and this is something I asked TriForce, and he didn't agree with me on this point, but I think it's dead, man.
Oh, it is dead.
I think Twin Galaxies is dead and gone. I really do. I think it's been destroyed. And I'm not blaming any particular side of any particular quarrel for that, but I think it's done. I think it's hit. But
I was
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they recover. Maybe they turn this around and do something incredible.
I wish them well. Yeah, I was never directly involved in Twin Galaxies. I never submitted scores. I'm not a big video game player. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I've been friends with you guys for a long time. Whether that's you, whether it's Mike Soroka, and I've seen it. I've seen where you guys have come with that, and I've seen what it was like then. And I see what it's like now, and it's two completely different companies. And you're right; it's not any one person's fault. It's not Pete Bouvier's fault. It's not Walter's fault. It's not Jace's fault. It's none of their faults. It's a collective wrong that people have committed here. Is it maybe a little bit Jace's fault? Yeah.
Well, yeah, you always end up pointing fingers at
but as much as of it is Jace Hall's fault, it's somebody else's fault too. Everybody who is involved to some extent or another with Twin Galaxies, especially now, has contributed in some sense to, it being what it is now.
Sure.
And again, it's like you said, it's no one person's fault. It's a collective effort to turn what was one of the greatest video game record databases in the world to something that is a complete mess.
It's just losing respect constantly.
Yeah.
And that's what I look at. I look at the respect that it's lost from, Twin Galaxies is a subculture. Twin Galaxies and its competitive gaming, platoon of people or whatever you want to call it, that is a subculture. And I'm looking at the respect it's losing in the culture. And it's it's a lot, it's a lot. So
I mean, are they even taking scores anymore?
Yes, I guess.
I mean, is there even
it seems like they're much more interested in disputing than they are in adjudicating.
Yeah, I mean, can you submit scores? I mean, where do you submit them to?
It's community adjudication. So whether you submit a score and then it's voted on.
Yeah. See, again, that's not right.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's a silly system.
World records are not right.
And I mean,
or that's not the right way to approach it.
TriForce brought up that Mike Soroka did a call-in show a while ago. A friend of ours, Mike Soroka, he does not agree with Adam and I on this, and he was trying to show that the new system is better. Quite frankly, the new system, for lack of a better term, it's so dumb that even if it worked, it doesn't work. Because that's not how you do a score. Sorry. No. That's not how competitions are properly decided. You don't properly decide something by a community voting on it.
I think needs to decide what scores need to what scores can be there and what scores can't.
Who?
Jace Hall.
Yeah.
I think that's who should decide.
Mm-hmm.
He owns it. He's the owner. If you don't like it, go start your own.
Yeah. And hey, this is what he has done. And, people love to talk about what's fair, what isn't fair. Jace Hall owns the thing. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
Really, absolutely. He wants to do community adjudication. Josh Auslander thinks it's dumb. So what?
Yeah.
Maybe I should have ponied up the cash and bought Twin Galaxies instead.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, go start your own.
Exactly. Maybe someday I'll grow up and get big and buy Twin Galaxies.
In fact, you know what?
I don't have that kind of cheddar.
Right now we're going to start our own video game database. So if you wanna submit your scores to us, send it over to radio at ImperialX.net, or you can submit
Josh's video game record keeping.
Yep, or you can submit
totally
it to us.
Legit.
Yep, you can submit it to us on the Empire Media Facebook page. Yep, and I will.
Maybe we'll do something with it.
Yep, I will find a score of mine and that'll be in it until somebody breaks it.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Sounds good. All right, there it is, the new database. Problem solved. Problem solved, everybody. No worries. We got this.
Yep.
We got this. Adam just fixed it all by himself. Boom. Boom. Hey, everybody. Is that it? We done?
Are we done?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, let's be done. I'm dying here. Yeah, this voice is, hopefully this voice, gets better. Because, like I said, I'm either gonna have to.
You got some albums to write, some songs to sing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to have to join a Nirvana cover band, but if that's my future, because this is how my voice sounds now, well, I guess that's it. What are you gonna do?
You're far too talented to be a Neuronica.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the XCast. You heard TriForce. Hopefully you caught some of the best podcasts in history, which was kind of in the XCast time slot, partially this week. Hopefully you caught that and dug it. If not, we'll be back here next week with Loud State and with an episode of the XCast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it.